G'day all. I wanted to do a bit of a commentary video this time. I don't normally do this sort of thing, but I had to make a video and didn't know what to do with it other than just upload it raw. So I thought, well, I might do a bit of commentary and let you know what I think about the game, sort of as the gameplay rolls on. So, as some of you may know, I really enjoyed the original version of World War III. I thought it was fantastic. I was really looking forward to it releasing, and then I was a bit disappointed when it didn't, and then we didn't hear anything for a little bit. But since then, Farm51 have been working on this new version, and I've got to say, it is fantastic. I really like it. Of course, there's always going to be the odd thing that isn't as good or whatever, but I think 99% of this is significantly better than the original. So what you're seeing now is the tactical operations game mode on Polyani, and at this point I'm just driving this little APC around, and I got a gunner in there, and I think in a moment I jump out, and shoot this guy. There he is. Which is the other thing too, I got to talk about the gunplay while I'm at it. Although I'll probably save a little bit more of the gunplay for later, when there's actually me running around with a gun. But I'll just say quickly that the gunplay is better, I think. Some people have been saying, there's this perceived more recoil and all this sort of thing. But for the most part, I think it's better. And also, this isn't a console game; this is a PC game. So I don't see the extra recoil as a problem. And to be honest, I don't feel like it's more recoil. It kind of, I don't know. It maybe looks like it, but I really don't know whether it actually is or not. It could just be the animations or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, let's get back to the vehicles. So this here is the Wolverine. This was probably the same as in the original version. This was my favourite of the tanks. It's actually an APC, but anyway, it's pretty fun to use. I think I like it so much because it's fast, still pretty deadly. Killer against infantry, and you've still got a bit of a chance against other main battle tanks and that sort of thing. Another thing to note, notice down the bottom right there's the different shell or different ammunition. So the one at the moment is good for infantry, and it'll do damage to tanks and things, as you can see. But something I don't think I do it here, but maybe at another point I will. There's also the 7.62mm FMJ rounds that I can use there, and they're great for taking out the optics on tanks. So even if I'm up against a main battle tank that I don't have much of a chance of destroying, you just shoot out its optics and then drive around it, that sort of thing. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the days. It might sound weird at first, but hear me out. So it reminds me a little bit of the days of like when I was playing Battlefield 1 doing the cavalry, where I could destroy a tank with cavalry pretty easily. By being faster than them. As long as you can move faster than their turret can turn, then you're all good. Throw grenades and whatever. So it kind of reminds me of this. It's a fast-moving vehicle that you can impair the optics of a tank if you're quick enough, and then drive around them and shoot them from behind, that sort of thing. That guy just got run over. But yeah, and I also like how everything seems a little bit more balanced now. I think the original may have suffered a little bit from some odd balancing, whereas this feels really nice and balanced for the most part. All the vehicles have a purpose, all the weapons have a purpose, and all the attachments seem a lot more, like they actually matter. It matters what attachments you choose. You're not just going to randomly select all the most weird attachments that you possibly can, which I'm sure some people would still do. A bit of thought, at least on my part, went into what attachments I was using. Bit of a shame I couldn't play this game more though. I'd really like to have had more time, but I've had a pretty hectic couple of months. So yeah, it's meant that I couldn't play this anywhere near as much as I had hoped. I'm really hoping that they'll bring this back again, and there'll be another alpha or beta or whatever they want to do, another test. Because I really want to dedicate some time to playing this more. So at least now, kind of ironically, my busy couple of months literally ended, a day or two after this test ended. So, that was a little bit frustrating, the timing. And then, as soon as I have time, now the only thing to test is Battlefield 2042, and you might have noticed on my channel I haven't got anything on Battlefield 2042 yet. I may do at some point, but honestly I'm pretty disappointed. But that's a different subject. And although I will say one more thing, I think part of the reason I was so disappointed is because after playing this, all I want to do is play this. You know, I don't really want to play Battlefield. I feel like Battlefield is well below this in terms of how fun it is. So, you know, I'm sure Battlefield is great. Lots of people are going to love it. You know, it's going to be good, I'm sure. You know, and it definitely looks like it's better than some of the older ones. But even the older ones, I don't think I could go back at this point. I think maybe Battlefield 4 is the only one I'd truly enjoy if I was to go back and play. So anyway, that's not about Battlefield though. So back to this. Gee, that poor guy. Is that just like the third time I've killed that same guy? Anyway. Yeah, another thing I noticed too was most players in this, you know, even though it was a test too, they seem to be playing the objective, and there's the objective flow, which is also quite nice. So you'll notice in some of the other videos, particularly the videos on this map too. Anyway, on this map there's a good flow to the objectives and capping and that. So if you've got a squad that's, you know, paying attention to the objectives you're marking, you almost don't need sort of voice communication. I actually don't have any video where we did have voice communication, although there were a couple of games I played where we did. But I had some issues with my recording software, and it didn't record. One day I'll invest in a you know, an external recorder, like one of those Elgato things or something along those lines. But because I want to record, you know, at a higher resolution, high frame rate, you know, sometimes they can be either difficult to find or expensive, especially considering I want to record in 1440p. And anyway, it's tough to find. I'll likely have to get one that records 4K or something, and then just make it do 1440p or something like that. But anyway, that's another different subject. Again, I'm getting distracted, even though I've got 20 minutes for this. But anyway, so yeah, so let's move over to gunplay now that I've got a gun here. I did mention a little earlier about how, you know, recoil and how everything feels. Well, I also like the look of everything too. That everything looks really nice and well made. All the animations are well done. The models are well done. Textures are really nice. Obviously, the sound is a work in progress, and you'll hear a lot of that at the moment. You know, whenever you hear any sort of bullets hitting objects, or some of the guns, you know, the way they sound when they fire and that sort of thing. I have seen, you know, from the developers, they have actually said this is a work in progress. This is, you know, something that is going to change before release. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about the sounds. You know, they're not terrible. You know, to be honest, I wouldn't even really care all that much if they didn't change. But I know, you know, it is something that's important to a lot of people. And you know, when you compare it to something like Battlefield that has usually pretty good sound, yeah, this does feel a little lacking in comparison. So, but like I said, work in progress. It will be changing before release. So that's good to hear. Also notice those particle effects just back there. You know, the dust that are moving along the ground and that. That's something that they've done a really good job with too. I don't know how the game performs so well, especially given that this is again still an alpha. I didn't really have any performance issues. If anything, the only issues I really had were you know, like latency issues. But I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I had heard from a couple of people that the servers are all based in one location for this test, and that it's possible that that's why, you know, here in Australia I may have been getting some lag. I think maybe the servers were in Europe somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure. And we also had no way to check our latency or anything, so we didn't know what our ping was or anything like that. But you could see at some moments the sort of jitteriness. Again, that's not an issue with the game engine as far as I know. That's just an issue with latency. And you know, I'm pretty sure that again that will change on launch. We'll likely have servers worldwide and that sort of thing. Which is the only other thing well, the only thing that does possibly concern me is during in the old version, we did have servers that said, you know, Oceania servers, but you know, as to where exactly they were located, I don't know. Yeah, they weren't the best servers as far as latency goes, for me anyway. I still got a little bit of lag, and then, you know, once the player base sort of died off, you know, no one played on those servers anyway. Because I really advocated for this game. I wanted to, you know, I wanted this game to be successful. I wanted more Aussies to play it, so I, you know, had people to play with on low latency servers and that sort of thing. I mean, and you know, and this is the game that really got me into wanting to talk about stuff on my channel rather than just show raw gameplay. Even though, you know, a majority of my channel is still raw gameplay, I really wanted to start promoting this game, and you know, I wanted to succeed because I feel that it has a lot more potential than Battlefield. You know, and some of that comes down to things like, you know, these smaller developers, they care more about their game Whereas, and this isn't, not a dig at DICE specifically or anything. It's just that, these larger developers over time, money becomes more of an importance than the quality of the game. Which, it's again, like I said, it's not the developer's fault directly. It's just this is how the world works. Money needs to be made. The larger you get, the more money you need to make, and so on. I'm sure you already know that. Whereas this, I feel like this is a nice fresh start for that Battlefield style of gameplay, where you've got something a little bit more tactical and a little bit more realistic than Battlefield ever has been. But it's got that. You can tell that the developers care about their game. They clearly play their own game and want it to be successful. And obviously, money is still something to consider for them. But it's not just about that. It's about making a good game as well. So I appreciate that from the devs, and that's I think why this is so enjoyable compared to something like Battlefield, which has that short-term enjoyment. When I did play Battlefield 2042, there are these moments where it's fun, but I don't want to get into it too much just yet. But I feel like it was a bit kind of boring, to be honest, for me. But like I said, for me personally, if you're into that arcade stuff, absolutely, it's just chaotic, chaotic arcade fun. But this is more, almost as chaotic, but it's a lot more tactical. It's a lot more serious, and but you can still have fun, and that's what's good about it, and it's satisfying to play. So yeah, and I'm going to do another one of these videos. I think I'll do another commentary thing in a bit. And I'll do it on the tanks specifically. Because I've got another one of these videos I don't know what to do with, and it's basically entirely tank gameplay on the same map. So I'll do the same thing for that. But for now, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say for my sort of general thoughts on this. Unless I can think of anything else. I was mentioning performance earlier. If you just look at the sort of near the top right side, it's got my frame rate on that, and it's amazing, especially compared to what I was getting with the original version, as well as this looks better. So there's clearly some optimizations going into this, and also there were some differences I noticed with the maps where it seems as though they have simplified a couple of things, but you wouldn't notice unless you'd played the original and you knew where things were, and you have a good look at the difference. But for anyone just jumping into this, you wouldn't notice the little things that are different, like that building on the right there. That used to be able to go in that building, and in fact, I think it may have been slightly different, the building itself. But either way, you used to be able to get in that building, whereas now you can't. And I think that's all of these little optimizations they've done, where there's not really any need to go in that building, and so rather than have all of the geometry and texture and everything for the inside of the building loaded, they've just closed it off, and it no longer has that. And so it's using up less resources to be there. So the little things like that I've noticed where they've closed off a couple of little areas, they've adjusted a couple of things, but for the most part, the map, and this map particularly, feels almost identical to the original, and you wouldn't know. Really, this feels almost like when they remaster a game or something, and you get that little bit better graphics, a little bit better optimization, and a little bit better gameplay. That's really what this feels like. And the movement is good too. The movement animations and everything are fantastic, and I feel like the movement in general is a lot more smooth. Other than, as I mentioned earlier, there's that sort of latency issue, but that's expected given the current state of the game. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else to ramble about. I've still got a few minutes left of the video, so I think what I'll do is I'll just leave it here and let you finish watching this video. So yeah, enjoy.
Our units have taken hold of objective Alpha. Enemy airstrike, fast approaching. Our units are taking hold of objective outlet 2. Our units are taking hold of objective Bravo 1. Our UAV online over the area.
Держи, подлечись! Objective Charlie 2 is under attack. Objective Outlet 2 is under attack.
Bronić w celu Alfa 2!
Your UAV is ready for deployment. Our UAV is online over the area.
Приближается вражеская техника!
Friendly airstrike incoming.
Uzupełnić
Первая помощь!
amunicję!
Objective Alpha 2 is under
Wróg
attack.
wyeliminowany.
Кого подлечить?
Yep.